Nice. We're doing it. Ooh, let me turn this up. I always forget about that one. There's a 10. Should be good. Yeah, you guys should be able to hear that a little bit. Hopefully not too much. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is it's gonna be a good night. It's gonna be a good night. We have S2. Well, yeah, we'll go over our layout here in a sec, but it is definitely gonna be a fun time. Final zone just opened up for S269, and they haven't connected yet, so there's gonna be some fighting, and your boy is excited. Incredibly. I mean, I'm ecstatic, really. So yeah, it opened up this morning. I didn't actually even think this morning to try and record some of the opening fights. Again, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more up until they do touch, but we'll at least be able to get some action right now, which I'm again ecstatic. Can't wait. We'll also check in on a couple groups as well. SS23 has kind of an interesting turn of events, but I guess more of a continuation, probably more than a turn. But yeah, it's gonna be good stuff. And yeah, we'll go over an outline here in a sec once we finish with our promos, as per usual. But at least get to enjoy some war here in S269 for their Zone 4/Final Zone. And yeah, we should have a fun time tonight. I was actually able to do a pre-scheduled stream, and I was actually early, right? Not late. That's the most important part. I know, small victories for me, and everyone's like, "Yeah, boss, that's just how it normally goes." What can I say? Mr. Late for a very important date. Yeah. That's my style. Everyone's like, boss, you gotta get a better style. I know. Looks like KON, GOS, and there's ALK, ALD. And I'll go over the matchups for this group as well for final based on what I know here in un momento. But yeah, we should actually be good to go for a while. So we might do like a 2-3 hour stream. We'll see. But the lady is having dinner at her madre's, and was basically like, hey, good sir, do you want to stream? And I basically just told her, I was like, wait, what? Oh my god, you actually are offering for me to stream this evening? How dare you show that much love for your significant other? And I said, okay. Initially I was going to go, because I thought we were going to do like a game night. Her family's really big on that stuff, but apparently they're not. There's some infighting going on. Not like anything horrendous. But I thought to myself, okay, we'll take this upon us to just hang out with the homies and the homegirls, e-boys/e-girls, as I think they call them in today's age. Not really. But yeah, should be good stuff. I'm excited. hopefully we're going to get a good amount of PvP from this KvK group. Because, again, their final zone, Zone 4, just opened. So, and again, they're not touching flags yet. We'll show that off in a moment for where they are currently. But it's definitely something to possibly bring an extra set of underwear and some tissues, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Mental, what's up? Hey, hey. Mr. T, hey. Dude, I'm so stoked for the new mages. Yes. Who is not? I mean, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay, I think we're good. Where did I finish? S270, right? Oh, wow. I wonder if it's going to let me go this early. We'll see. Wow, it is letting me go that early. Dope sauce. Oh, little counterattack, little counterattack. You can do it. You guys can do it with your tiny squads right now. I mean, I say that nicely, right? Yeah, but new mages are... I mean, I'll just be excited just to see what they do. So we can cover them and, you know, talk about some synergy here and there. So here's the matchup right now for S269. So Zone 4 is... Oh, actually, on this one, I wasn't aware of the matchups. That's what it was. So I think what we end up having, but we can clearly see, it's ALD, ALK, GO, and then there's KON, and I'm assuming probably ONK based on where they are, and then GOTK. It's probably a 3v3. You can see here that... and then with the exception of GOW. So maybe it's a 4v3, if you will, because 3 of those passes have been capped. Let's just take a look and see if we're building still. Interesting. So no building happening here. Members are out, but nothing's popping, unless we missed the flag somewhere. We didn't. If we go up here to yellow, hopefully they're continuing to build. They are. Let's see here. ONK has 43 minutes on their flag. And then there's another flag going down. Okay, good activity on the flag from KON. 40 minutes on the build. That's not bad. And then there's build on both. Oh, interesting. So I think there's the ALD. Oh, so they're dual building up the ridge. Okay, not bad. Oh, I forgot, because of the design here, the way this works is this isn't open. Like, this is the ridge right here. This is, like, where we ended up seeing TFS fighting against a war, along with PSC and FS as well. But because of the map design, the initial map design for Season 2 Vanilla, it's blocked here by the mountain ranges, so they have to go up the ramp here, along with the top pass has to go up the ramp up here. So this is the only way to get to the other side, unless you want to do the long walk around the Frost Dragon Plateau on the second level and go that way, right? And then you could go the third level as well, right? I mean, there's basically this route, the top, and then the third level that you're going. But I don't think there's any other fighting that's happening, and we looked at everyone's build. Yeah, so basically the action is going to be here, but again... Hopefully, we'll end up seeing some goods. Seeing some goods here. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited. Right. I mean, if you think about it, I guess it really should be ramping up. They're pretty close. Based on where they are currently. Mental, hey, you said, what info do you have on the new mages? Honestly, the same information that everyone else has. There really isn't too much that's out there right now on them as far as, what are skills, talents, usage, synergies. There's really nothing right at the moment. At least what we know is what everyone else knows. I mean, there are like some small things that they've let us know about, but nothing that is game-changing or at least would be worthy of a announcement right now, on top of, there's certain things that we can say and certain things we can't, even in our positions. But as far as anything beyond that would be important enough to state, hasn't been divulged at the moment. Yeah, which, I mean, again, the way I look at it is like this. If they're putting that announcement out the way they did it, the one about the home kingdoms, no more resets for alliances, etc., the server-wide migration, or cross-server, we should say, migration. My view is that we're probably getting pretty close right now to getting some patch notes. And if we don't get anything, by the end of the week, then I'd say there's probably, I would say the next best chance obviously would be next week for us to hear something about patch notes for the upcoming update, which again, I'm pretty excited about, because part of me feels like this is a good opportunity for them to include suggestions and potentially show us, what's the future direction that they're going to be taking. Will there be other kind of subtle hints or subtle drops that they're going to incorporate into the patch notes that will be more aligned with the recent announcement that Asya put out about, the consideration for adding home kingdoms and just kind of approaching the game more from that perspective than it being having it being more kingdom focused than alliance focused. So I am going to be curious on what's going to be in the patch notes, because like I said, I think this next patch notes is I don't want to say it's going to be make or break, but I really think I'm hoping it's going to have the best opportunity to give us a deeper insight on, okay, are they going to push going this direction more? Is it going to be a little bit more neutral and stagnant? So like those things to me are very interesting, as just someone who like reads through every patch note, and I really enjoy it. So no, should be good. Justin Lawscheller, what's up? Welcome. I wonder if one of them is a flying commander. One had a dragon next to him, maybe a new pet, but maybe he can use the dragon to fly. Interesting. Yeah, so some people have been talking about the possible new war pet, if one of them's a flying commander. So I think someone mentioned that there could be like a flying mage, that they were saying one of them could be. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see, but that's something that is going around, which I don't think anyone would necessarily be opposed to having a couple more flying heroes. I'm definitely all for eventually seeing some full-on flying forces. Who doesn't want to eventually have 10 flying heroes available where you can run a full 5 Legion squad with 10 flying commanders? I mean, it just sounds dope, man. Operation Flying V. Get your Mighty Ducks on. And I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take for us to get there to where we can have 10 flying heroes. But that would be exciting, without a doubt. Yeah. Riley, what's up? S2 Plus still go the same map? Riley, do you mean S2 Plus after the current S2 Plus seasons end? So like the SS-2 through SS-10, or I guess technically SS-1 through SS-10. You mean those recent groups? Are they going to be going into Season 2 Plus or Season 3? Is that... Ooh, nice, dude. Little fight's breaking out. A little fight's breaking out right now. But yeah, just let me know if that's what you mean. I guess what I will say, though, is that if that is what you mean, it's already been confirmed at the moment that, well, and again, this is based off of what COD CS has stated publicly in the Discord, is that they're going to have... is that they in this, and that's why I have to preface this with like, if that's true, they've already stated that there's going to be another Season 2 Plus season. So it's going to be, I guess if you want to consider it to be S2 plus plus or S2 plus V2 or round 2, but yeah, they're going to run S2 plus one more time. And then Season 3 should be coming out after that. That's the timeline that it appears to be at the moment. Yeah. Mental says, I think they should do. I think they should. Let's go here. I think they should do mini Easter eggs to tease new heroes. That could be cool. No, without a doubt. I think, if they. So what's interesting about that is if you think about the way they do the treasure hunt, right, where you can go and do that as like a PvE type event, where kind of like similar to scouting villages and caves. Right, that would be cool if like you had to go hunt and do a storyline, right? Do like continue in the story mode, like do Easter eggs like that, where they almost not that they force you, but they hopefully encourage you. That's probably a better word. Encourage you to participate in the story mode. That could be dope. Because I'm not like against doing the story mode. It's obviously not something that's at the top of my list, so to speak. But if there were things that they would add in the story mode that would be Easter eggs. And that could be cool. Or if they did it like the treasure hunt mapping, where it was like a side quest that you can go and do, and maybe it reveals a picture or something. I guess just trying to think a little bit outside the box, but that could be dope. Yeah, and for those of you just tuning in, welcome. Remember, the only entry fee that we ask for all of you good lords is just to smack a thumbs up, like you'd slap your mama, but just in a really nice way. And yeah, but here in S269, for those that are curious, Final Zone just opened. So this is like the Zone 4 all-out war that's happening right now. It's, again, still building up, but flags are about to connect. It's ALK, ALD on this side, and then it's GOS and KON on the northwest side on this Season 2 map. Final Zone, or Zone 4, opened up this morning, I think about 10, 11 hours ago, give or take. And they're pretty much close to connecting right now. If you want to take a look at the map, this is how it looks. So again, you have ALD, we have ALK here. You have, got to click on the right one, GOS, and then KON. Those are the two that are mainly fighting. ONK is building. They have a flag right here that's going down right now. And then over here, I think this is GOTK. They weren't building when we last checked in. And then they have one pass that hasn't been capped yet. And then this is GOW, and I can't remember if we saw them building or not. Yeah, so they're not building either, similar to GOTK. And this is where the convergent point is, because, again, remember, this is the Season 2 map, not the Season 2 Plus map. So, again, this is blocked off. For those of you that are familiar with the Season 2 Plus map, this here was basically moved down a little bit, like around here, the lake, and then there's a path that goes straight down to the level 5 pass. Most notably, for those of you that have been watching like SS2-3, that's kind of where Noor is coming up from, and where TFS and FS are going, or Noor and PSC, and that's where TFS and FS are going north-south down to. But here on the map, you can't really go anywhere through here, so you have to go over the ridge, right? Which is why you see them building along the ridge at both. Oops, let's see if we can get a good... We can do it. Yes, here we go. Sometimes you got to, like, trick the camera to try and get, like, the most max out. Interesting, though, but GOS and KON being able to push off ALK, ALD off of the flag that they did have, and then off of this one, too, as well, that they were building. So, decent. Not a lot of spread that we're seeing here from the small group, and typically in smaller numbers, you usually would like to be able to see a little more of that, because they're not, just lagging up the potential screen or that side with, hundreds of troops. You'd like to almost feel like, hey, the Trusco can shine a little bit more when you have a smaller force, because it is a lot easier to micro with smaller numbers than it is bigger ones. But it's kind of just, kind of similar mosh pitish, if you will. I do like this person on the flying, though, that's spreading a little wider. That's nice. Let's see what we're running. Looks like Madeline. I wish I could see a little bit more. Madeline Eliana, I think that was. We got Thea Atheist. I don't know who this Madeline is running here on ALD. We'll see in a sec with the secondary procs. Maybe it is just her and the pet. Solid. Single hero. Don't need secondary. Let me see, a lot of Lilias. We got some Syndrian, probably Syndrian Frager, I would imagine. Kanara, I don't know if that was Kanara Hosk. Yo, our boy. Why am I forgetting this guy's name right now? I feel so bad. Hang on. I forgot I have my other thing. Why am I forgetting? Alistair. Alistair. Not Alistar. Alistair. I think that's how it looks. Let's go. I got to catch up here. Nice. 2 more likes at 10. We can do it. Look at that. Plus 20 on the viewership. Love it. So excited. Let's catch up on some chat. Logan, what's up? Welcome. How the heck do you post the ad in my S2 chat but talking live? Yeah, so I'm running 2 instances, right? So if you guys remember from the PC client update, they ended up adding to where you can log into 2 accounts. So I'm showing you my main account here, and we're just observing, which you can see here on the top where it says observing S2-69. And then I have my Scout instance up, which has all of my Scout characters in every kingdom, and I just kind of go through those one by one. Very efficient. Very efficient. It's like, you sneaky, sneaky boy. I mean, you know, bear in mind, I've been doing this since since beta. Excuse me. I have to mute myself when I cough. But I've been doing this since beta, right? So, I mean, technically, you can log into more accounts if you want to use an emulator, right? I mean, I could log into 4, 5, 6, 10 accounts if I wanted to. I would just have to use emulators for the other ones. But if I want to use the CoD PC client, I can do 2 there if I'm running it on PC. But yeah, but as far as like the ad stuff go, I mean, like I said, I've been doing that since beta, since when I started playing in Kingdom 2, and that's just because I missed Kingdom 1 by, I think, like 2 weeks or so, give or take it was. Which, again, really disappointing for my life. I would have loved to be in the OG Season 1. But yeah, I've been doing that since basically the start. I mean, probably anyone who plays has most likely seen a World Chat ad from me at some point. I appreciate the hearts. Oh my gosh, 1 like until 10. You guys are really climbing up the boards right now. Hasso, Khaled, what's up? Welcome. Can I see heroes for you? What are you using? Bear in mind, my account is basically being built at the moment just for pure development, so I really haven't invested into any of the PvP heroes. All the heroes I've really invested to at the moment, and I'm talking like an over-investment, outside of just the baseline. Everyone I'm investing to is basically just gatherers at this point, for the only ones that I really level up and do anything for. I'm sure at some point, once the account gets a little bit stronger, I will start investing a lot more into the PvP heroes themselves. But yeah, I'm not really doing a lot of that because I basically just went like full development on my account. So yeah, I mean, I almost have all my buildings at 25, and now I'm just basically just using speed ups on tech, so I can start getting to my T5 prerequisites. I think I'm VIP 13 as well, but I have to. I haven't been buying any of the dailies or re-upping on the monthlies lately, which I need to. I just keep forgetting. Yeah, so I wouldn't show my account off at the moment. Well, really in any kind of showing, because it's not really at a point where people would find it beneficial if I was to talk about it. Eventually, I will. Yeah. Yeah. Riley, you said again, hope not the same map. So yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not. So whether or not if it's going to be the same map or not, that hasn't been. I don't think that's been conveyed. Okay, I had to clear the throat. Yeah, so I don't think that part has been conveyed yet on if there will be adjustments. COD CS may have said something about it. I'd have to go and look. What I will say, though, is that every season thus far, they've done map adjustments, right? So there's nothing that would indicate they're not going to do that, right? So and that's just because that's the precedent they've set. That's the trend. So given that, I would almost guarantee, or at least say with very high confidence, that they're going to make adjustments. Is for the S2 Plus kingdoms that are going to be doing another round of Season 2 Plus. That there's going to be some adjustments there, and hopefully they'll make an announcement about that. If so, usually they do. whether it's COD CS saying it or hopefully they'll do it in an announcement this time if they do end up seeing some changes. But like I said, it's very unlikely that they're not going to make changes or adjustments to the Season 2 Plus map. Sneaky, what's up, baby? Evening, that's late for you. It was like midnight? 11? Matthew, you said, what is the difference in gameplay between PC and mobile devices? Yeah, I mean, I think hotkeys, like Siki said, I think hotkeys and I don't know. I mean, like I think with the potential lag or drop rates, I mean, you obviously are running on, considerably, hopefully, better hardware than your mobile device, along with better connection. Well, potentially, if you're direct connected compared to going Wi-Fi. But yeah, I think probably the hotkeys and a few other things, I guess, around that area. But again, and I've said this before, there's moments where I'll notice that I get better performance on my phone or a tablet, as an example, compared where it's less laggy compared to on PC client. Now, there's been some adjustments I've made on my PC client that I think have improved it. But if I had if I was able to hook up my phone and stream from my phone or do that for like large scale gameplay, I would at this point. I mean, I think for the most part, when the big fights are like when our PC client held up against the TFS, FS, Nawar, PSC, Don Dusk, etc., that group, I think we did pretty good where the PC client didn't crash on us, I think, throughout any of the fights this season. So maybe that is them making some back-end adjustments. Maybe it's just fixing some things on my end that ended up helping a little bit. And as I say that, the screen freeze is fantastic. I mean, it's just so good when I'm trying to get into my soliloquy and, make good points, and then all of a sudden, bam. Yeah, my other one's fine, which is funny. But this one decides, oh yeah, this is the one that's going to end up going down. Okay, this is what we'll do. Thankfully, I have 2 of these up. This is the benefit of having two PC clients, is I can do something like this. Yeah? Watch this. One freezes, one unfreezes. So sick on that transition, right? That was well done. That was well done, I think. Can't freeze on me when I got a backup to the backup. And then I'll just close this instance out and we'll reload it. Excuse me. Too funny. Yeah. Ice Flame, what's up, man? Welcome. Mental says you can log into 2 accounts at the same time. Yeah, on the PC client you can. Bear in mind, they have to be different email addresses, right? It can't be the same email address. That probably should be stated as well. He's like, I'm mobile, so big Al. He's like, same. 9 farm accounts is hell on earth. Oh, I can only imagine. On mobile, it is probably no bueno to be running that much. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore there, without a doubt. Dude, they're pushing this now. So nice. Oops, I meant to load this one. There we go. Oops, hang on. That's the main. We'll skadoosh this one over though. Oh my gosh, if it's gonna let me move it over. There we go. So you guys can still watch the fight. And then we'll just wait for this to load, and then we'll switch it back in a moment. Dude, they are pushing them back. Is that beyond their tower? Oh no, it's not. Oh no. Oh no. They're regaining footing. I wish I had the time. Locus says, I wish I had the time for farm accounts. Too busy on one account. And truth. I think most people probably wish they had time for more than one. And then on the same in the same breath, I think a lot of people would just wish that they could play one account long enough where they don't need to have a farm account. You know, it's probably more of the ideal setting. Mental says, then move to my server when you can. I'll give you 10 million RSS for fun. Thanks. Yeah. Well, you know, it's not really the RSS at the moment. It's the gem. It's the gem funnel, right? On trying to get the rally buildings and the watchtower finished, so that way I can then finish upgrading my hospitals and I can finish upgrading my academy to 25. Like it's a bummer. And again, I know they said they're going to be addressing that in future updates. Hopefully, it's as soon as the next update, but we'll see. Yeah, right. $102 daily chest save from Madeline. Nice. Yeah, no, it's rough. Just a bit. Logan says, do you think someone like me will play S2++ as I'm in S2 right now? If not, then I would be at a big disadvantage of the servers who's played 1+ and 2++ if I were to go to an older server. Well, I mean, bear in mind, there's nothing you can really do about it at the moment, and that's mainly because the idea really is that the beta groups played anywhere from 1 to 2 seasons before. Quite a lot of the players that came in for global, well, you could say the early global players. So it was like beta and then the early global players have played through. And I guess mostly it's really beta players who've played a whole extra season prior to global release. So, you know, there's really nothing you can kind of do about it at this point. The idea, though, for what they've been doing with the seasons is that when 1+ came out, and then the groups that played 2 1+ seasons and then went into 2, that was just because they didn't have the new map already developed, right? So for the younger players that were coming in, you had them going into season 1, and then they would go right into season 2. So that's a lot of what you're getting now. And then if you're still in season 2 before season 3 comes out, then you'll go 2+. But if you're in season 2+, you'll go right to 3. If season 3 is already out and you're in season 2 for the newer players, right, then you'll go season 1, 2, 3. And I mean that's just is what it is, based on when they finish the new map for the season. So, yeah. See, like, yeah, man, it's 11:22 here, my man. Yeah. Mental says, the real question I have about hotkeys is, can I set it to farm RSS through hotkeys? I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't messed with hotkeys. I probably won't really mess with them. Probably until I start doing like PvP stuff. That's most likely where I see the hotkeys being a little more useful, at least at face value. That's all I do every day. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I still have to remember to leave some feedback in our chat, in our CC group thing. A few people have. I just haven't yet. There's a little small scale here. I wonder if they were fighting with bigger numbers earlier, or maybe it's just a lower downtime for them. Chin chat's popping a little bit though. Yeah, whenever this slows down a bit, depending on how long. Let me see how long we've been going for so far. About 35 minutes. Okay, not bad. So probably in a little bit, what I want to do is I want to go through and I want to review some submitted suggestions on the COD Discord. So to give you an example, right, I want to go through this channel, so the suggestions channel on the COD Discord, where we will read suggestions and then we'll upvote or downvote, and I'll share with you my thoughts on them. So that's I'm pretty excited. I love doing that. I love going through suggestions and giving you all a little bit of an insight into BN's thinking and thought process, and explaining why I think a suggestion would be good or not for this particular game. So hopefully we'll get a moment to do that here in a bit. And then possibly we'll talk a little bit more about Home Kingdoms. I may continue doing some data pulling for my Kingdom Builder video, my Kingdom Builder history video that I'm putting together. So since I have some time this evening, I'm actually hoping that I'll be able to start on that more tomorrow. But I want to try and do as much as I can, or anything I can, this evening. So those are like the 2 to 3 things we have after this. And then, again, we'll go around and look at some other KvKs too as well. Maybe look at some updates for some of the big ones. But yeah, this is good. And then we have, I think S270 is the next one. So like their Zone 3 opened on the 11th. That was 6 days ago. Their Zone 4 is 3 chapters away, so they'll be the next big one. I'll be pretty excited for that. We can actually go check out Zone 3 for S271. There could maybe be fighting there. Let me check on my other account real quick to see. Yeah, I'm going to look real quick on that one. Because if there is, we can go take a look at that for some of the other zones that opened. Let's see, 73. Oh, no, it doesn't look like it. Maybe the pass hasn't opened yet. Yeah, because it was mainly just supposed to be the chapter. Oh, no, sorry, S271. I'm tripping. I went too far. Yo, they are chasing deep right now in the territory. Yeah, and kind of trickling in like this one by one. I don't know if I would have went all the way hard like this, especially if they're not having a lot of resupply coming through. Just because when you trickle in one by one, you see like this happens, where you see now it easily turns into like a 7v1, 8v2, 8v3, 8v4, right? And now they're retreating. It's better to like push up to a certain distance, form your line, and then push up kind of in unison. You usually get better results that way. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Zone 3 in S271 is going to open up in 11 hours. That's actually not bad. That's like 5:35 Eastern time for me. I'm gonna open. Hold on, let me update my doc here. Opens. What did I say? 5:35 a.m. East. Okay, that's cool, because that means I could potentially go get some action there for Zone 3. Oops, sorry. You guys hearing that? That rock thing in the background? Did not mean to show that off. Let me switch this up, because I think you guys are probably hearing S269. Let's do that. Let me switch it up for the right one. And that way I can use my scouter to go and look for some other goods on the PvP front. Let's do this. Switch that over, and then we'll push this up here, I think. It's probably about right, right? No, it's too high. It's too high. We could do it. Okay, that's as good as it's going to be. And I don't think I have sound on my scout. Yeah, I don't. Cool. That means I can go look around now. Yeah. I have a video. Let's see, you got Discord. Steph, what's up, man? Welcome. Yo, yo, yo. Yeah, let's see if I can update anything else while we're hanging out. So, like I said, 71's there. 72 is... yeah, we're going to have to wait for Zone 3. That's 4 chapters away. Yeah, so really nothing going on there. Then S2 Plus is... Zone 4 is 3 chapters away for S2 12 and 13. But those are probably going to be good fights. Right, so we're talking about a week. And then there's... yeah, we're talking about a week, and then there's going to be 3 KvKs for SS2-12 and 13 that are going to be opening up. That's going to be exciting to get some PvP content from. Yeah, hopefully some big wars that'll be going down there. You guys are killing me here, man. Okay. While this is scaling down a bit, I just want to go take a look real quick at SS2-3, and then we're going to review some suggestions. So something I'm pretty excited for. Yeah, let me get on this. And again, this is TFS Noir. I just want to give you guys an update and kind of show you what's happening here on this one. So you can see here, pretty insane with where they're at the moment. So all of these flags are pretty much being removed right now by TFS and FS. And you can see them all here on multiple flags right now. There's not really any resistance, I think, at the moment for Noir. They're probably starting to line back up on their side of the map. And, I mean, you know, it's probably going to be pretty cookies at that point. I don't know what's happening over here. Oh, never mind. I thought there was something, but actually, I guess there's nothing now. Fang, Dawn. Oh, excuse me. It's probably here because they came in probably in this direction. Yeah. So TFS is actually coming here to remove that, and then yeah, maybe they'll do some fight there at the bridge, and then over here is TDR EP77, but I think they're working the flag down right now. So yeah, just to kind of show you guys SS2-3, where like the main primary fighting is pretty much over, and probably has been over more or less for about a day or so, but I just wanted to show you guys that because I thought it'd be nice to kind of show off the group. Jets, what's up? Welcome. You're saying, I saw CS posted G2 gold tokens can be used on new mages coming up. I wish I knew sooner. Yeah, I think they did say that. I think they did. Okay, let's review some suggestions. I absolutely love doing this. This is one of my favorite and most fun segments that I have a blast doing. So we're going to read through. So we'll read through some segments. I am going to go back real quick to S2 69 just so we can hang out there. And then I don't think the fighting is probably be that loud, but if it really pops off, then we'll be there. With that in mind, let's go over some suggestions. Now, the way I'm going to do this is pretty simple. We'll just go bottom up. We'll read the suggestion. I'll give you my thoughts. We'll talk about it. If anyone from chat has a question or wants to chime in, then we can kind of go from there at that point. Okay. Okay. I'm so excited. So, what do we have? We have their new guidelines that they ended up putting in here, which is that only one suggestion per message. Do not use a new suggestion to boost a previous suggestion, which makes sense, along with not having multiple suggestions in the same one. No complaint or bug suggestions, no troll suggestions. Suggestions that reach a certain threshold of upvotes 50 plus will be sent to developers, right? So that's one of the new things. Okay, here we go. No feelings hurt if I read one of your suggestions and we give you an X. So first one, Sue4, show in reports how much we healed other legions with pets, artifacts, and our own legion in this pan, and also get merits for healing others. Now, bear in mind, this already kind of breaks the rule because, again, one suggestion per message. This is technically two, where this person says, and also get merits for healing others. So, because this is two separate suggestions and not multiple suggestions within the same main line, we're not going to vote for it and abstain because it doesn't qualify or is eligible for us to vote. Number two, or the second one, from, I'll just say this person. Please add larger farming nodes. I feel like these small nodes are a patchwork for giving something for people to do when they're bored their minds off. Excuse me, because of the lack of PvP due to diplomacy, matchmaking, or map killing off any real valuable content. Give us nodes that have 2 to 4 million RSS, so farming is not a grind because this game is to be about PvP. So, I mean, yeah, would it be great to have larger RSS nodes? Sure. Is it something that's absolutely killing the game? No, it's not. Again, part of it is supposed to be a little grindy, where it's not always absolutely convenient for people to have nodes that you can farm for 8 hours and then you're good, right? That'll basically occupy your sleep time. It's not that I'm necessarily against this. I tend to probably lean a little bit more towards this type of suggestion. I think the thing is that the way that this is worded by this person, the way they formatted this, the way their tone in this, along with that, and respectfully, this just doesn't really come off as professional. I'm not going to vote for this. Again, if this was worded in a way that gave more clear examples and justifications for why larger nodes should be added, instead of just give me more larger nodes because I want them, then I would probably vote for this. But again, this is why suggestions need to take time the way you write them, and you have to understand that you need to provide good reasonings, potential evidence, and or data, and just, again, something that's well written. So because of that, I'm not going to vote for this. Even though I agree, I would tend to agree and lean a little bit more on agreeing, I'm going to abstain for now. Please rewrite your suggestion. Savijo. Make the player from the highest power alliance king. Allow the king to pick which players will join for KvK. The remaining players automatically fill into a separate group and enter a separate KvK. Dang, this is intense. I'm going to go with a hard no on this. Yeah. First off, I don't really agree with just automatically making the highest power alliance king, where it almost comes off automatic. I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think, again, ideally you would want people to either attack the final building, or even if you want to make it more efficient, you attack it and then you can transfer kingship. That would be a lot easier, so people don't have to keep reattacking it, because it doesn't really make sense to keep doing that. Unless you're getting rewards or there's some benefit from it, and that's if you're looking at something like Infinity Kingdom, Rise of Kingdoms, etc., other kingdom builders that have already a kind of final structure building that you capture, and then you get access to king queen tools, I should say. So something like this where it's just automatic, that's a hard no. Allow the king to pick which players will join for KvK. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, because you want you want everyone to join for KvK, right? You don't just want a few people. You want as many people to potentially join for KvK. So, why would you limit yourself in that regard? I mean, unless you're doing that because you guys are so messed up. You guys are just voting the way I'm voting as I'm Howard streaming. That's hilarious. But ideally, right? Like, I mean, maybe if you're saying that you want to choose people, so like the trolls don't come in or something to that effect, like maybe that's the direction you're going. But again, this is like a 2-sentence suggestion. It doesn't do enough. It doesn't explain enough. And then the remaining players will automatically fill into a separate group and enter a separate KvK. Like, how much work are you trying to create for the developers? Like, that is just a hard no. I mean, like, just take a moment and reflect on thyself. B4H, Ion, do not treat the Spring Warden ground calves as melee when using the auto position melee range legions when marching. Do not treat the Spring Warden ground calves as melee when using the auto position melee range. Okay, this is a lot, right? Can you use it in a sentence, please? Rewrite this a little bit, because to anyone who may not, and I kind of get what they're saying, but this isn't written well enough for the average person to understand. And that's the big thing you have to take away when you're writing up suggestions. Here's Czar. I think Czar just sent me a DM a little while ago. Enable R5s, R4s to be able to remove AFK marches from behemoths if they fail to press ready on prepare. I'm actually okay with this. I would even be okay if they failed it, they're automatically removed, right? I think that would be okay, like automatically removed from the behemoth area. But this is okay as well. I'll actually vote yes for this. This makes sense. It's pretty clear. I don't think that this necessarily needs a lot of explanation, even though he could have wrote a little bit more and covered his basis on saying, well, if they don't vote yes, I can remove them, or you could have added if they don't vote yes and don't give a suggestion, they're automatically moved outside of the behemoth territory. That would have been okay as well. Web 3 Swiss, give R4, R5 the rights to remove turrets. I think generally I'm okay with this, right? I am not necessarily against them not being able to remove turrets. I think this is actually okay, where if you give some people the ability to remove turrets, I think this is all right. I think it does somewhat make sense on if there's certain turrets you need to remove because maybe you need to place a flag and that person's offline and you can't really attack the turret, right? You need some way to kind of remove them because remember, they can always be replaced. So I'm actually okay with this. Maybe it could be done a different way, but even if they have the right to remove them, you're not going to have R4s and R5s that are just removing turrets for no reason. Especially if everyone in that alliance is for that alliance and there's not like a spy or someone that gets in there and they just remove everything. Now, could this be a little bit more well thought out? Yes, but I do think it's straightforward enough, right? So I'll actually vote yes on this one. I think the suggestion is okay to look at. Rimudu Senpai! What's up? Welcome. Okay, Poibo 17. We need a visual update for Spring Warden and Wilderberg tier troops, please. We need to see the difference between a T4 and a T5. I would actually vote yes for this. I am in favor of seeing visual differences between T4 and T5, so I like that. Sun 9 Erst, for future seasons maps, move the final zone back to the center of the map. This will contribute to better final zone back to the center of the map. This will contribute to better balancing throughout a season. Again, for balance purposes, return to a symmetrical system in terms of behemoths and the buffs they give, so everyone can have the same opportunities regardless of the chosen starting zone. Strategy, games, maps, as symmetrical as possible for balancing. So, excuse me. I don't really agree on this one, and it's not because symmetrical maps may not be looked at as being favorable, but you can still get good value out of asymmetrical maps. And I actually, for one, enjoy asymmetrical maps in these types of games more than I enjoy symmetrical maps. And that's specifically for KvKs. I'm okay with the Home Kingdom for Season 1 being symmetrical, right? But if it's a KvK, I actually somewhat enjoy more asymmetrical maps for KvK than I do symmetrical ones. I understand what they're saying, but to be fair, the territory per zone across Season 2 and Season 2 Plus is not horrendous, right? Like, yes, you could argue that more Brez in Season 2 Plus is a little bit bigger than Doolin on that Zone 3 for Season 2 Plus. Now, is it abhorrently bigger? No. Is it bigger? Is it noticeably bigger if you just pay attention, you look around? Yes. But it's not something that I think breaks the game in any capacity. Yeah. Could they make the territory asymmetrical, but then still try to have relatively balanced positioning for behemoths? Yes, they can do that. And those are things that they can fix without having to immediately go to a symmetrical map system, right? They can make those adjustments in game for new maps. So for this one, I don't think that it's really going to... I don't think going to a symmetrical map system is going to truly balance. And also, what balance purposes are you meaning? This is what we talk about when we say you have to be specific with... right, and it does say here, system in terms of behemoths and the bust they give. So everyone can have the same opportunities regardless of the choosing starting zone. But to be fair... when I did my analysis of the Season 2 Plus map, and we looked at multiple maps, it was pretty much the same behemoths that were in the same starting zones. The only difference was some of the positioning of them. So again, I think this would be easier if they gave some examples. If they said, well, hey, if you look at this map in this kingdom, at these points, you can see that it's different. There really wasn't a lot of evidence here to be supported. And on top of that, I just don't think that this is a hard selling point, right? So for that, I'm actually going to give it an X. Alpacalypse. Make new server formation at the end of the season based on alliance power. This way, similar power levels are combined and the fights will be closer in terms of power. Also, you can better balance behemoth power based on servers' average power. For example, S1 can be all the strongest alliances for every season, S2 a bit weaker, S3 even more, etc. There is also a certain appeal to aim to be in the strongest server. Make new server formation. So KvKs is what they're saying, right? So KvKs should go off of the end of season based on alliance power. But what does that mean? Are you saying based on 1 alliance, 2 alliances, 3 alliances, 4, 5 alliances? And then are you using that as the metric across the groups? So are you saying, okay, we're going to look at the top 5 or top 7 alliances power? Or are you just looking at 1 alliance's power? This suggestion is not specific or clear enough, and for that reason alone, got to give it an X. Because again, we shouldn't push things forward if they're not articulated well enough for the average person to understand, right? Details and specifics matter. Glossariac 123. Automatically activate War Frenzy when fighting behemoths, removing the need for everyone to scout for plus attack buff before starting. So I'm iffy on this one because, and the reason I say that is because if they had intended for War Frenzy to be activated when fighting behemoths, they just would have done it. Clearly, it's not meant to be activated. So because of that, this is something where you would actually go and do it. Sorry, just let me grab those real quick. This is something that you would go and do on your own. Again, I'm not overwhelmingly for this, and I'm not overwhelmingly not against it. You know what I mean? Like this, it's not. It is what it is. Like you're going through a step that is a roundabout way for you to have a higher, to be stronger going into a fight that the game design was not intending for initially, right? So again, it is like if they change, like let me say, so if they change this and they made it so that way when you attacked a behemoth you would get War Frenzy, would I be against that? No. Like if they wanted to make that change, okay, cool. But am I overwhelmingly advocating for this to be changed based on the current way it is? No. Do I also understand that there is a buff that people can get and everyone that's going to attack a behemoth can apply it? And yeah, is it a roundabout way to have to scout people so you can get that going in? Yes. All of that is understood. I just don't know if I'm overwhelmingly sold on, let's add in War Frenzy because we're doing PvE when War Frenzy is PvP. So I think because of that, I'm going to abstain. I don't think I'm going to vote one way or the other because I don't feel overwhelmingly towards one side or the other on this one. It just kind of is what it is. Okay, next one here by Benjamin Pang. I want to start off by saying I absolutely already love the fact that this person has slightly formatted their post. I mean, I should just give you the green check because you came prepared. You came ready, right, to submit a suggestion, good sir. So I just want to say thank you for that. Okay, let's go. Problem. We typically zoom out during war to attack other troops. However, we need to zoom back in to apply artifact skills for a lot of the artifacts, except Infernal Flame. Suggestions. Auto-trigger and auto-aiming artifact skills. This helps specifically during massive PvP when game might be lagging, and during PvE. Imagine infantry will auto-apply taunt when it first attacks. That saves a lot of time and make the game more pleasant to people who can't be on screen all the time at micromanaged troops. For artifacts that are directional, just apply it to the direction of the currently targeted March of Darklings. Auto-trigger and auto-aim should be two separate features that can be toggled on and off. For example, some players might want to manually trigger artifacts, but want a one-button mechanism similar to Infernal Flame to trigger artifacts. In that case, players will turn auto-trigger off, auto-aim on. Okay. So basically, just want to remove the need to only have it be manually activated, right? Where you can auto trigger, you can enable a function where it'll auto proc artifact skills the moment they come up, but it'll only go in a singular direction, right? So you can't use them tactically. So my initial thought process is going down the path of, I understand where they're coming from, where they want to automate this, they want to make this a little bit easier to use, and probably experiencing a difficulty in proccing artifacts in large-scale fights. That's obviously something that I think the devs can work on their end to potentially help and assist with that endeavor when it comes to for large-scale fights. Maybe it's reducing the characters on the map to like one troop, right? Kind of similar to what they did with simplified graphics in Rock, or something else for that matter. I personally like the fact that you have to manually activate all your artifact skills, regardless if it's just kind of a simple proc or if it's you have to like move and target it and then activate. That isn't to say that I'm against having the option to auto activate or auto trigger, as this person says, your artifact skills, but still being able to manually use them if you want to disable that. I just don't know if I'm like overwhelmingly over the moon on I don't know. I just don't know if I'm like really sold on it on that, like, yeah, this change needs to absolutely happen. I mean, I like the fact that people get to manually choose when they can proc their artifact skills. And I think the core or the root of the problem is more about, well, hey, is there a way to address large-scale fighting that causes lag for artifact skills when you're trying to activate them or after you click to activate them, and then there's maybe some kind of a delay. That, to me, seems like more of where the root of the suggestion is coming from, rather than trying to address that. It's more of, okay, well, hey, this is just something that they're probably have experienced, and they're thinking, well, if we just make these automatic, it will solve that, right? So, or at least I should say give the option to make them automatic. So I think for me, I'm going to abstain on this one. It's not that I'm necessarily against it or necessarily for it. Like, I get why it could be beneficial. But for me, I'd like to try and look at how to solve the root cause more so than kind of putting this, I guess, somewhat of a Band-Aid fix on it. Because the other side of it is that if you start adding in things like this, what's to stop quality of life from continuing down a path of where we're going down an automated route when the whole idea and purpose of the game, at least on this track and this line of thinking, is meant to be more skill usage based, right? And so you're really only going to get that if it's always only manual. Another way of looking at this is that if you look at a game like League of Legends, they don't have some type of system that'll just auto-proc skills for every single skill that you have on every single champion, at least to my knowledge. When I played League, they didn't have that. This was years ago, of course. And maybe they have added something recent in. But from what I remember, right, whether the skill was AoE or if it was directional, you always had to activate each thing manually. So, and again, because you have skills that are on particular champions, or on particular legions, the thing for me is I like the fact that there's true skill enabled with being able to manually activate. And so I think for me, I'm going to abstain from this one. I would like to see, I would like to try and see the root cause addressed first before we go to adding something like this. However, I will say this. If they're unable or unable to address the root cause, where it's, hey, look, there's just no way that we're going to be able to decrease the amount of potential lag when 300, 400, 500 legions are fighting it out, and like that's something that they've stated, that there's just no way to get around that. You just have to try to adjust your settings the best you can, and then wait until enough units die. Then, okay, right, maybe you might sell me a little bit more on this. So yeah, that's where I'll say I'm on the fence on that one. Let's go to MZ1234. Increase the road capacity for alliances in alliances in S1. It was fine because the map was significantly smaller. Than S2 and 2+. With the current way of things, alliances have to delete a bunch of roads every now and then to be able to progress along the map and reach objectives, which eventually leads to losing villages, and overall is rather punishing to all the members, especially with how limited the slots are in villages. It's scarcity of villages. If scarcity of villages is added to the equation as well, it's rather frustrating. A possible solution, as I said, could be either increasing the road limit by a few hundreds of meters, or simply allow the village limits to be in sync with the available members limit, so members are still limited with the village count and can still choose which villages. This is just a lot. I feel like there's multiple things that are in here. Limited members of village count can still choose which villages they want to keep and which villages are not really worth it. So I think if the main point of this is just to, hey, can we increase road length for alliances? This is the thing. I'm actually okay with them increasing road length. However, I think something specific, at least I wish something specific was stated here. I mean, it does say a possible solution, as I said, could be either increasing the road limit by a few hundreds of meters or simply allowing the village limits to be in sync with the available members limit. I mean, this is technically like two different things, right? This is like two suggestions in one, which again goes kind of against the rules. The rule for submitting suggestions is supposed to be one suggestion, right? They're basically offering two and an either or, one that is specifically related to roads and one that is specifically related to village limits. So because of that, I'm not going to vote. Because it would be irresponsible to vote for two suggestions in one when it's just both of them aren't really clear, or I guess you could say one is a little more clear than the other. So if this was just one suggestion, if this was just a suggestion for increasing road capacity, and they said, hey, let's increase it from 1,200 to 1,500 kilometers, I'd be okay with that. If you're just aiming to increase road capacity, or that's the specific suggestion, and it's only that one, I'd vote yes for that. if there was a separate suggestion on adjusting village member capacities to either raising those or reverting it to the previous system, which was a better system, in my opinion, where you didn't have village member capacities. All you had to do was connect a road to the village within territory, and then it automatically applied the passive buffs from the villages to every member in the alliance. I would vote yes for that. Because of that, I'm going to abstain. And that's just because the suggestion needs to be cleaned up. Let's get to Pestilence, 7329. Yeah, Adrian. I mean, I completely agree. It needs to be something that's applied to all the players the way that they need to revert it back to how it was. Pestilence 7329. Remove caravan event and improve game performance when there are many legions on the screen. Oh, this just is not specific enough. And I don't really know why people would want to. I mean, is there like some overwhelming push to remove caravan that I just haven't heard about? I think because of that, I'm going to X this. I mean, this suggestion just isn't detailed enough, nor is it formatted. I don't belong here. 951. Should we just red X this because this says I don't belong here? Add a wild card to upgrade the level of any legendary artifact obtainable at least one time for season. Level 5. Through Forge of Lights is so RNG dependent and in the worst case cost an insane number of keys. So it's at least 1 to 2 wild cards for season would help to work on artifacts in the long run without making them easy to max. Also still needed to use Forge for the first copy. So we're adding a wild card to upgrade the level of any legendary artifact obtainable at least one time for season. 1 to 2 wild cards for season would help to work. I mean, I guess the suggestion is coming from a place of that some artifacts are hard to level. And to be honest, I really haven't messed around too much with Forge of Light, so I would be out of my depth when it comes to that particular event. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I guess I would defer to people who are, I mean, if I'm going off my current account now, I mean, to be honest, I don't do chests as much as I should do chests. I mean, let's be real. And, yeah, I think that's probably the big one is I probably should do more of like the lucky chest so I can get higher rates for pulls. I think I probably would have a bit, like if I was doing them every day, I think I'd probably have a better idea on, like what is the rate at which artifacts are really coming in if I was doing those since day one. I think with where I'm at now and how often I do 10 pulls, which is still decently often, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, for some of the legendaries, it's been a minute, or it usually is like a pretty decently long time. I just don't know if this suggestion is detailed enough for me and is maybe as descriptive and as thought out potentially as maybe I would like. Part of me feels like I'd like for this to be a little clearer. Yeah, I think I'm going to abstain on this one. Like I generally see the direction and where they're going with it. But a part of me feels like I'd want it to be a little bit more descriptive, and then the second part of me is that I'm not min-maxing my account the best way that I could be doing it to then really appropriately gauge on, well, what's the rate that I'm really getting these artifacts leveled up or not, especially for the legendary ones. Okay. Let's go here. So we have Why Not Our 1949. Ion, as the game progresses and more heroes are added, it becomes hard to level up more than 5 main pairing. The 6th or 7th march takes too much time to be leveled up in time for war times. I would suggest to speed up a bit the leveling process, incrementing the EXP gain from Darkling. So the reason I'm actually going to vote no on this one is specifically because of the recent adjustments that they've made already, where now if you level a hero to 30 or a 30 and beyond, the hero will have a soft reset down to 30, right? So they're already starting off the heroes at a higher level with the soft reset. I at least would say let's let that run through a season or two first to see how that plays out. And then if people still have the same feelings, then okay, I would vote yes to this potential suggestion. But again, this has to be a little bit more clear too as well. Let's go to the next one. I think that skills and talents. Oh, sorry. This is Onion. I'm not going to try. I am not going to fall into that trap. It's a trap. They want to confuse me. So I'll just say Onion. I think that skills and talents related to engineering need a change because they significantly lag behind the rest due to the cap. The percentage increase in engineering doesn't contribute much to the game. I suggest strengthening them, for example, instead of enhancing the percentage of engineering skills. Engineering skills could deal additional damage to towers every once in a while, e.g. plus 500 damage to the tower every 5 minutes of destruction, and the same for building, plus 500 HP every 5 minutes or building. The numbers could be balanced. These are just examples. Engineers can do a lot. They just need a little love. I don't necessarily disagree here. I actually really like the direction that this person's suggestion is going in with like the thought process of investing a little bit more here onto this. I think the challenge for me is like they just give only one example that is particularly for a talent. Well, I guess it could be for a skill or a talent, really. When it comes to engineers, I mean, even something like gaining EXP, right? Yeah, I think part of me when I read this suggestion, it starts off very broad and vague, but then it goes into a specific suggestion. I understand it's an example that they're giving, but I don't know. Part of me wants this to be a little bit more specific on what they mean. Like if it's, hey, add this thing to the engineering, right? Or add this to engineering instead of, hey, we need skills that are more related to them. And I understand, yeah, they're just saying that and giving an example. It's not that I wouldn't vote no on this. I just would like for it to be a little more detailed. You know what? I'm going to give you a pity yes right now. And because I believe in it. I believe in the suggestion. I need more from the suggestion, right? And I don't want anyone to be kind of misled by when they read this and they see that it has a lot of upvotes. You know, there needs to be a little bit more oomph behind it. COD Portal. Add the ability to be guaranteed to receive a skill when you release your pet. For example, if you caught a pet with 3-star skill, you can increase its affection level to a certain level, and when you release it into the wild, you'll have the opportunity to choose the skill you want to get. This way, pet food will be more beneficial. I think this makes sense, right? The challenge is that I haven't messed with any pets, right? So, I still haven't even gone out to cap a pet. So, even though I should now, because of the recent update, I should be more inclined to do so, and I'm sure I will at one point. I think this makes sense to me, where I guess what they're saying is that you're not getting really any benefit from food outside of raising affection level, and they want the investment from the food to the affection level to mean something in this one instance of when you release a pet. And I guess what they mean by this is that when you release a pet, you have a chance to receive a skill, and they're saying they want this to be a guarantee that you receive a skill, and then you can choose the skill. I mean, I think if you're going from random to a guarantee, that already seems like a good jump or a big jump. But then not only do you want a guarantee, you want to be able to select the guaranteed skill. Like now you're just asking for a lot at that point, right? So I think that if this was like, this is kind of like a two-part suggestion, right? That's bundled into one. I think that if this suggestion was written in a way that was a little bit more like if it explained what the issue was, went into the challenges, and then talked about solutions or a solution to it, I would be more inclined to vote yes for this. This to me just doesn't really do, I think, this suggestion enough justice because it's not clear on what's the problem, what are the obstacles, what's the solution, right, and then what's the justification for that. I would just, for something like this, I'd like to see more of that. So I'm not going to vote on that one. Leo Force 4770 makes the elixir capacity higher, so it takes 12 hours to completely fill. Logging in twice a day should be enough to heal. So a similar thing with this. What I'd love to know here when these types of suggestions are being submitted is when you're doing this, talk about what the challenge is. How do the elixirs currently work? How much time are you spending having to wait to then log in? Why is this an issue? And then what's your fix for that? That is not detailed here at all. See, that's the thing when you see a lot of people that are submitting suggestions. They're submitting suggestions as though they assume that everyone understands their problem. And the fact is that not everyone understands the problem. You have to spoon feed the way that you write suggestions so people will understand why you're suggesting something the way you are, and that can actually increase the number of votes you get, because then you're explaining the problem and here's the solution. The only thing that we see here is the solution in a very simplified, short way, and this is just not doing it justice. I get what they're saying, and I'm actually somewhat inclined to agree here, but the suggestion isn't written well enough, nor is it detailed enough to really sell people on getting a lot more votes than it probably could get. So, yeah, for this one, I'd love for there to be more. Because of that, I'm going to abstain. Maz5441. When you play multiple servers, it might be easy to choose the server you wish to start playing on instead of just stating in the server you last played on. Wait, what is this? When you play, it might be easy to choose the server you wish to start playing on instead of starting in the server you last played on. This would make it way more efficient and avoid changing server immediately after logging in and having to wait for the game to start 2 times in a row. Part of me feels like I'm not getting this one. When you play multiple servers, it might... Oh, I see. When you're playing multiple servers, I guess with one email account, it might be easy to choose instead of just starting in the server. Oh, I see. Oh, I see. So I see where they're going with this. So what they're saying is that when your game's loading, it'd be nice to have the ability to select the server you want to load into instead of the game automatically loading you into the last server you played on. I actually think this is a phenomenal suggestion. The problem is that it's not worded appropriately, or it's not worded in the best way that can describe that. But this is actually a hidden gem of a suggestion. It's just, I'm not going to vote for it because it's not written well enough to really explain. But this suggestion is A1. This is a top tier suggestion, probably the best one that I've seen so far. And I should probably write this down somewhere on my suggestion thing. For like the PC. Do I have something like for PC client on here? I don't know if I do. I'll put this under quality of life. And we'll do when logging in, have server list or have, have list of servers. We'll just say have list of account servers to choose from before Kingdom loads, something like that. Okay, yeah, and I know what I mean. I know what I mean. Yeah, okay. Oh man, no, that was a good one. That actually got me somewhat excited. Pestilence 7329 says, enable merits as soon as fighting as possible. Stop ramping up merit shop quality. Instead, give us full merit shop as soon as merits unlock, which should be as soon as fighting. I agree here wholeheartedly. I like how they just listed off 2 points. Again, I would have liked for them to ease into the explanation here and like set the floor for, again, what's the issue, what's the problem, how do we solve it? This is clear enough, but it's not clear enough for like the average everyday player, right? But I do agree here. I like the fact that you could start earning merits immediately as soon as the fighting starts. It doesn't really do anything if you're fighting and you're not earning merits. It just feels like such a bad net, like a net loss. So I do agree here. I could go more deep into this as far as talking about, well, again, are we talking home kingdom starting zones versus anyone being able to choose where they want to go, and then fighting happening in zone 1 versus if it was delayed, you probably wouldn't need a suggestion like this. But do I like where the suggestion is coming from? Because I think it's more of a net positive than anything else. I do. Okay, let's go. Dobrij, let us permanently turn off War Frenzy notification. I guess if you're saying, can we have the option to turn it off for when you get the notification, okay, I'm actually okay with that. If they're just saying, hey, give us a toggle option to turn it on and off, I'm okay with that. Add more gold, Will Xvol, add more gold keys, heroes that are somewhat as good as pay-to-win ones, Kanara, Haas, Lilia, Skogul, Goresh, and more. So I'm like on the fence here, because my view on this is, would I like to see them add more legendary heroes to gold key chests? Sure. But would I also like for them to eventually come out, or even, I should say, would I like for them to come out with an event similar to Card King in Rise of Kingdoms, where you can choose any hero to get sculptures for them by participating in kind of like a mini game? Yeah, like that could be cool. Would I like to see them maybe do something like that here in COD, where they come out with a game that allows for you to unlock and gain sculptures for any legendary hero, especially the gated ones? Yeah, like would I almost like to see that? See, and then that's kind of where you have to give a toss up. Like, do you want to see something like that, or do you want to see them just going into adding more of the heroes into gold chests? Now, let me give you another angle on this, right? So, I think you guys are going to like this one a lot more. So, my other angle on this, and this is something I actually think could be a lot better, that is not where they don't have to add in any events. So, to me, I think the improvement for this type of where this person's going with actually would be better is if when they release new legendary heroes that are not automatically going to the gold key chest, they allow, and they're pay to win gate, like they're pay to win or they're gated. You allow a certain amount of time. So let's say 2 new heroes come out. One hero is pay to win, one hero goes to the gold chest. The hero that's gated and you have to spend to unlock it, that hero is only pay to win gated for like a short period of time. And then it transitions to the gold key chest. That's how I think it should work. Now what would that time look like? Is it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months that hero is gated where you have to spend money to unlock them? Is it the duration of 1 season, the duration of 2 seasons, right? Whatever it may be. But for me, that's how I'd like to see it be done. I'd like to see when they release a hero that you have to spend for. Again, you could still keep the price for spending it, right? To get more of them. But after a certain amount of time elapses, I'd like to see that hero then move to the gold key chest for eventually all heroes to be unlockable by free-to-play. That's how I think the system should work, and I think it would be a lot better because of that. So for that, I'm not going to vote on this because I just don't think this is the right play overall. This will probably be the last one that I read because I think we've been going for a minute here. So we have, who's this? Grenvy? Can you separate the merit gained by killing T5 and T4? Additionally, please provide a detailed log of the weekly merit gained through war or idle farming. I mean, you can already tell this suggestion is ineligible because they're already suggesting more than one feature or change within a single suggestion. But we'll still read it. War or idle farming, infantry versus infantry. We are attempting to calculate active players by weekly merit, ensuring that the end of the season rewards are distributed fairly according to their level of activity, but some of them may have bad luck when fighting T5 with T4 units, resulting in smaller merit gains. This is in contrast to players who are barely online, but engage in merit farming, gaining a large amount in single fight. So if they separated this suggestion and broke this up, and they said, hey, can you separate merits gained from T5, T4. I don't know. I just don't know if I mean, it's not bad, right? I guess I shouldn't be against it. I mean, more data isn't at the end of the day bad, especially for something like this. I wouldn't vote on this. I'm going to vote no on this because this is just ineligible to me. And again, it's already ineligible because they have multiple suggestions in one suggestion. But if they wanted to break up, if they wanted to give you like a total merit and then they gave you a merit breakdown based on how many T5, T4, T3 you've killed, and then they also did like a units killed breakdown, which is something that a lot of people have been asking for. So if they kind of add in a merit breakdown along with a total merits gained, I don't think that's an issue. Very similar like in Rock, where if you select units killed, it'll give you the breakdown for how many T4, how many different tier troops they've killed. I would actually be okay with that if they did that on a merit, because I think it would also allow for you to see what the value is, the value point gains per unit tier that you kill. So I think more data like that actually could be pretty beneficial. But the problem is I'm not going to vote yes for this because it has multiple suggestions in one. So it's like I said, it's already ineligible. With that in mind, that pretty much ends our suggestions spree. That was pretty fun. So I don't know how many we covered there, but that was a number of them. I'll say that. Let's go back. I just want to see if there's any more PvP going on. And where was it? 69, right? Yeah, let's go take a look. Just for a bit. Ooh. Some action. I don't know if it's just me, but like shockingly not as much fighting as I thought there would be here. Part of me just feels like there might have been a little bit more going on. Maybe it was happening earlier, and we just missed it. Too funny. Free to play M got betrayed by allies PBM. Oh, really? Which I thought I had a group for that. That name sounds so familiar. You said PBM, right? Oh no. Wait, what did you say, PBM? Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Do I have them for S2+? Oh yeah. They're SS213. And you said FTPM. Oh yeah, because they were together in Zone 2 fighting. And then Zone 3, I think, they're in PBMs and more Brez in that division. And they're going up against, I think, BTR and TFO was what I last heard. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about the betrayal part, though. All right. Well, Error, what's up, man? Hello. Hey. Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw you said BTR TFO and everything. Yeah, I saw that. And I thought that was interesting because what I originally had down for them. Oh, actually, never mind. I didn't have anything originally. I thought I had something down for them like they weren't allied or something, but I didn't. I thought I had something listed, and I'm probably thinking of a different division. But okay, so I guess they weren't. Aaron, what's up? Aaron's saying we're having another S2 plus or going into S3. It's going to be another S2 plus. Well, and I say that based on what COD CS has posted. I think they mentioned. I don't know if it's been officially confirmed yet, but they did mention that it's most likely going to be another S2 plus. And then we'll get season 3 after that. However, as usual, always nice to wait for official announcements. Oh, I thought I had that. Oh, wait a bullet on here. One of these days I'm going to be able to stream earlier. Just a random thought. Adrian's like, oh no, why? That's dumb. Yeah, so the main reason is because the S3 map isn't done yet, from what we've heard. And I think that's pretty... Part of me feels like that's just pretty logical, because if they had the map done already, they would have wanted to try to release it at earliest opportunity. And then Harry said, thoughts on turrets? I'm not a fan. So, the thing for me on turrets is I'm okay with turrets. My thing with turrets is that you can just build too many. I just think there's too many turrets that you can build right now, and it's at a point where it's kind of almost becoming like you shouldn't. When you're out there, the appeal for PvP and COD isn't the turrets; it's the open field PvP. That is the most enjoyable part of Call of Dragons. That's probably the most sought after part, right? When you're fighting, it's the open field PvP. It's not how many turrets can you build to turtle or defend. So the thing with turrets is that, just like with any kind of on-field buildable structure, depending on the type of focus that structure has, they need to be used for tactical purposes. Not for, so like it needs to be used for quality, not quantity. And that's the problem right now, is that they're being used for quantity rather than quality, where it's about how many turrets can we build overall, instead of how can we strategically place turrets to give us advantages, right? You want turrets to be more of a support structure and not the main structure, right, that's being built. And that's the big difference right now that you're not really getting out of the turrets, is that it really is about how many can we build. And that's been seen across multiple KvKs, with just hordes and hordes of turrets. So it is something they addressed, right, that hopefully we'll be seeing a patch or an update for that in the upcoming patch notes and upcoming update, where they're going to be addressing it, because they've already talked about, like, they understand and they see it. And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Like, I've shown that on multiple videos and multiple streams when we go and we look at matchups where, PvP has kind of somewhat stagnated, because at times there's just so many turrets that are being built, especially when you look at those kingdoms that have built up to a halfway point. So as an example, you have kingdoms that are KvKs where the pass is open for a zone, and then one side builds up to the 50-yard line, and the other side builds up to the 50-yard line, and you're just here. You got a little space in the middle, but you're here, and it's just turrets, right, everywhere, and it just becomes very hard to push, because people are just turtling really hard. So yeah, my thing with turrets is that the build and the destroy time need to be aligned and need to be the same. And on top of that, they just need to make it so you can only build one per person, like one per player. Doesn't mean like there's just no upgrades. You can choose which one you want to place, but you can only build one per person. I think that would help, along with maybe if they put a limitation on how many turrets you could build within a territory, within a flag's territory. So like, let's say they only allow for you to build 25, right, or 30 within a flag's territory. And then they also would have to put something in for overlapping territories. Like if you built multiple flags within the same area, there'd have to be some type of exclusion or rule in there that doesn't allow for you to kind of like cheat the system in that way. That might be a little more difficult. But I think if they did that, if they limited the build to one per player and they put a limit on how many you could build within a turret's area, and then they align the build and destroy time so it's the same, because that just makes sense. Why would you have a build time or a destroy time that takes longer or less to do one or the other? So those things need to be aligned. And then my thing was like, if you're going to level the turrets out, have it be something where it takes 5 minutes to build a level 1 turret, and then you just do 5-minute increments per level. Like that could be a simple way of doing it. But I think the other things I mentioned really, I think if they make those adjustments, turrets will be a lot more. I think they'll be a lot more well used. And then if you have less turrets, you can maybe buff some of their power a little bit. However, I would like to see them reduce turrets. Maybe make it easier when you're using turrets to try to level them up. But at the same time, if I'm saying easier there, it's also easier to destroy. And I'm not saying easier in that regard. It's just I'd like to see turrets be used where you can get max level turrets, and it doesn't take a day or something like that to do them, but that they can also be used and placed in strategic ways, right? So again, I think addressing a few of those areas can help improve how turrets are viewed and how they're used in the game, right? So they're scaled and where they're more aligned with how CoD can benefit from them in the PvP. Because right now it's just kind of mass production, unfortunately. It says Aegis says Rise of Turrets, yeah. Harris says, I feel like the meta is whoever can spam the most turrets. I mean, yeah, more or less. So, again, at least when you get to a point, because even like with the TFS and FS group, they were building, both sides were building a lot of turrets, both sides were building a lot of flags. I mean, it was a lot. And again, you're seeing that still in quite a few KvKs. So I'm hoping that once the next update hits, we'll know a little bit more. You asked, are they bringing back barricades? I don't know if they're going to bring back barricades. I like barricades. I hope they bring barricades back. My view on barricades was the same view that I've had with the turrets. It's just scale them back. Just don't allow for barricades to be built in mass. Have barricades, allow for them to have tactical usage and purposes similar to turrets, and do the same thing with them. Only allow for one to be buildable per player. Put a limit on how many can be built in a flag's territory. And then have their build and destroy time aligned. Again, I think if they do those things with turrets and barricades, I think the usage for them will become a lot better overall. Ari, you asked, are they going to reduce the difficulty on behemoths? They are so difficult right now. Yeah, I think that is the general consensus, is that a lot of the behemoths are pretty difficult. And I did a video covering this for how many behemoths were captured nearing the end of Zone 3 for those 9, or I think it was like 9, those 9 S2 plus KvK groups. And like it was pretty rough, right? I think we ended up seeing that only 50% of the alliances that were in Zone 3 had a behemoth captured about 2 days before Zone Level 5 passes opened for Zone 4. And like that was pretty rough. And there was a couple KvKs that actually could have had, there was a handful of them that could have had more balanced PvP matchups going into the final zone, that could have allowed for like the big crescendo war in the final zone to last longer and to not be as one-sided, or to have like a decent advantage on one union versus the other. And that was severely impacted by the alliances that could not capture behemoths, right? So, yeah, I tend to agree that the behemoths do appear at the moment to be a little bit too strong. But you have to kind of look at like the root cause of that. Why is that? Well, the main root of it is because of them increasing Legion capacity. Like part of it to me feels as though, or a big part of it feels, or the core part of it feels, I should say, is that they're increasing behemoth strength and aligning it with how they're increasing Legion capacity. So, because what is it, 120 or something, right? Isn't 120 season 1, and then it went to 250 or 125 or something like that, and then it went to 250 season 2, and then it was and then it went to 360, right, for season 2 plus, but then they scaled it back to 300. So it's just, I think they're increasing the Legion capacity amounts too much per season, like just way too much per season, and because of that, it's also making it more like you have to think about how strong the alliances have to be, right, to cap some of these higher level behemoths, and also considering that a lot of these alliances are able to easily fill a full 300k capacity, and probably could fill a 360k capacity for some of the top stronger alliances that are obviously, those ones are more likely spending versus the lower powered ones, of course. But like that's really more of the root cause of why it is the way it is. So yeah, I do think they need to be scaled back in difficulty, but I also think that they just need to they need to have a better scaling system for how the Legion capacity is scaled across seasons. Because if it was me, I would increase Legion capacity by 25k. If they're starting off at like 125 or 120, 125 for season 1, I would increase it by 25k. So if it was 125, I'd do 150. Going to season 3, I'd do 175, and then the next season I'd do 200. I think that is better, right, and more in line with how it's going. Also, and again, that's just an example. The best way to really do it is you'd have to assess the average amount of troops that each player is training per season, and then look at how you're going to scale your Legion capacity from season to season. If you're going to go down a path where you're going to always increase Legion capacity every season, or if you're going to increase it every season up until a certain point. But the only way you can really determine what is the best way to scale and increase Legion capacity per season is you have to pull the data on how many troops every single player is training per season, right? And then also be able to assess or to differentiate how many troops people that are spending money are generating versus those that are free to play. And then also look at the overall. Like, you need to look at the data in order to appropriately set Legion capacity increases. And respectfully, it just doesn't feel like they're doing that. It just feels like they're kind of throwing a number out and then adjusting the behemoths like that, and just either expecting or hoping people are going to be able to do it. And that's not to say they are doing that. What I'm saying is that's how it feels. That's how it looks. And I think for the most part, that's echoed by many people. So good. Gotta love the agua. Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, let me do this. I'm going to throw a link for the Discord in the chat, and again, for anyone who's interested, right, we always post updates on when we're going to go live. So for those of you that are curious, if you want to join the Discord, you can end up going to reaction rolls, and you can go here if you want to get notified for when we have new videos or for when we go live. There's also a live stream channel where I'll post and ping when we go live. So that way, if you want to get any updates, along with when we have new content that's coming out as well, we have a specific content channel. And of course, there's a sub donate for anyone that would like to beyond just the average or regular viewership. Always appreciated. I think with that in mind, I'm probably going to go ahead and end the stream for the evening. I think we're coming up to almost 2 hours. And it's been great. Again, we showed off some PvP here for S269, where because their Zone 4 final zone just opened, and then we also went through some suggestions, talked a little bit in chat about a couple things. and then came back and watched a little bit more. There's going to be more PvP that's coming up this week and next week. And next week is probably going to be the next big one because there's going to be 3 Season 2 plus KvKs that are opening their final zone next week in about 6 to 7 days. So I'm going to be pretty excited. I'm going to try and cover that as much as I can. But that's going to be pretty cool to see. I'm expecting there to be a lot of fighting. Daka, who's one of the players that has over 1 billion units killed from ROG. That's one of the KvKs he's in. I think it's SS2-13. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of PvP happening and a lot of units getting wrecked next week. So I'll be excited to cover as much as we can of that. With that in mind, I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, for chilling, especially I know because I'm probably the person who streams the latest out of anyone else. Always nice to have people hanging out and tuning in with us based on me, at least during the weekday, right, for when I can stream, as usually around that 22:30 to 23 UTC mark is usually the earliest. So always happy to have people hanging out. Hope you guys have a great rest of the morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever it may be. And if you are about to go to sleep, I hope you get some fantastic Z's in your life. That's going to do it. As always, until next time, I'll catch y'all later. Take care.